Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. It was about 10 years ago in a conference room at my previous employer, and we were sitting there as a team working on a project. And we then got on a conference call with our client and was having a conversation about the project and moving things forward. And we had great relationships with them, so of course we had great conversation and always a little bit of laughing and funny sarcasm. And we ended the meeting and everybody departed, and a lady who is a leader in the company pulled me aside and said, "Do you have a moment?" I said, "Sure, no problem." So we stepped aside and she said, "Did you realize during that conversation what you were saying or what you said?" And I said, "Gosh, no, what did I say?" And I said something that wasn't quite appropriate for the conversation for the client. At the moment when you do that, you go, "Oh my gosh, you didn't mean to do it. You had no idea you did it." But what I was most grateful of in that conversation was that she pulled me aside and took the time to invest in me and tell me about my behavior. Now, of course, sometimes when that happens, we don't love that feeling because we think, "Oh my gosh, we had no idea." And of course, I then called the client and the individual who I'd kind of made that comment towards and apologized. And of course, they said no big deal, but I knew it wasn't the behavior for the brand that I wanted to portray. So what was so important about that conversation? Well, there are lots of things, but the main piece was that individual who took the time to pull me back and to say, "Hey, might not be something you want to do in the future. That's really not what you stand for." I mean, that was how she positioned it. "That's not what you stand for," and I was surprised to hear you say that. So having someone do that, having somebody to tell you those things. And this was also an individual who would invest in me, who would be the one that would tell me what other people were thinking about me in a positive or a negative way, and be the one who would make me better and send me articles and just know what made me tick. And that person to me was a milestone person. I was introduced to the milestone person concept when I was in Leadership for Life through my tent maker friends, and really stopping to think about, we know there's been lots of people in our life that have made a difference, but who are those people in your life that are milestone people? That they have helped you along, that they've helped you grow, they've helped you achieve some milestones, they've helped you through some milestones. And we all have them, but really don't step back and think about what difference they might have made in our lives. So I want you just to bring that to your attention today and think about those people. And the biggest thing is the difference they made in your life through those times. And they may not be in your life anymore, and maybe you have new milestone people. But the biggest thing is, have you told them that they're a milestone person for you? When you think of that, last week, I think about just being a leader and doing my normal behavior every day. But I got my mail, and of course, I've written about handwritten notes, and I love when I flip through the mail and there's that note, and there's that card. You go, "Oh, who's this from?" Amongst all your other mail. And it was from someone who I had no idea the impact that I had made in their life, and they had taken the time to send me a note and let me know what a difference it made in their life. So in a way, I had no idea that I was a milestone person for them. So these people are critical. And we think about these individuals. They could be a coach. It could be a teacher. It could be a pastor. It could be a friend. It could be an aunt or uncle or family member. But who are those milestone people for you? So for positive charge this week, first, who has been a milestone person in your life? 2, have you told them? And one thing I want to point out there is if they're not living, it would be a great gift to the family if you would tell them. And number 3, are you modeling behavior where you can be a milestone person in someone else's life? When we step back and think about these things, we look at the milestone people and say it wasn't about their years of experience. It wasn't about that they were an expert in their job. But what it was about was the character of the individual, the who they were that made them a leader. So milestone people are very critical in our lives, but it's about who they are. So use who you are and become a milestone person in someone else's life. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.